Nigeria will be facing Egypt over there in Cameroon when it comes to the African Cup of Nations 2021 that will be coming up in the city of Eguavoen. Well, Nigeria against Egypt, according to the coach of the Super Eagles, the interim coach, Eguavoen, says it's going to be a tough match between Nigeria and Egypt, using that to usher you into the world of sport on 360 Sport on Trust TV. I am Adeni Ajishafe. Joining me is Ibrahim Yusuf. Good to have you.
Yes, it's always nice to be here, Adeni.
Just like I at least rather the story concerning the Nigerian Super Eagles playing against Egypt. We are in the Group D: Nigeria, Egypt, Uganda, and also Guinea-Bissau. Well, the interim coach is saying, as it says, it's going to be a tough match between Nigeria and Egypt.
Well, he doesn't have
tough one.
He doesn't have to say it. We all know it's going to be difficult.
Maybe it's just how to prep his boys. They should be prepared.
He really doesn't have to say it because we know it's going to be difficult. We've spoken countless times about North African domination and when it comes to football in Africa. You understand, Egypt there are no slouches, you know. And with our current level of preparedness for the AFCON as it is now, I believe if that game is played today, we're not going to make it.
I believe we are going to make it. Maybe we
if the game is played today,
that argument.
Okay.
That we can make it. Do you know why?
Why?
Good. First of all, the fact that the Egyptians, the attention is going to be on Mo Salah, right? I know they have a lot of players as well from the home league, the Egyptian league.
Exactly.
But the fact that we are playing Egypt, I know the mentality of the Super Eagles. One, they will not want to drop the bait so that, oh, Mo Salah. Most of them, they know themselves. Oh, your team beat our team. No. You'll be surprised what Super Eagles will do. I have that belief that Super Eagles will win. I want to
be surprised.
I'm not giving up that they will beat us. Why will you admit that they will beat us?
If that game is played today with what we are doing,
no, forget about
we will be beaten. Of course, that's what I said. I said if that game is
come to the party,
if that game is played today, I don't know what happens by the time now that we go to play the AFCON. But right now, as we speak,
let the first 11 Egypt comes on the pitch and Nigerian Super Eagles.
Exactly,
they won't beat us. I stand to be corrected. They won't beat us.
I admire your optimism. I really do. I wish I could have it.
I will not look at our is it Boy Scout style now or what they call it, the fire brigade approach.
Exactly the way
I believe the Super Eagles of Nigeria know what is at stake. Playing against Egypt alone is like playing in the AFCON final. Do you know why? The rivalry between Nigeria and Ghana is understandable because we're
neighbors.
But the mentality of an Egyptian playing Nigeria or Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia playing against Nigeria is always different. Why? They know that it seems, even if we are not lifting any cup in any competition, the mentality that, oh, this is Nigeria is always is in the mind of all the opponents. So Nigerian too knows that, okay, this guy they want to match up against us. They know how good this team is, and they know these players in Europe. Our players too want to believe that, oh, let's do something. Let's be man to man, bone to bone. I don't see Egypt beating us.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not
getting you. I'm just telling you facts.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying that.
Maybe you are from Egypt. Who knows?
I'm not saying that Egypt is going to beat Nigeria in the AFCON. All I'm saying is if we play them now, we'll get beat.
You said
exactly.
Today,
exactly.
Right
if
now.
we beat them today, if this match was played right now, maybe at 6 p.m., they will beat us. But what I'm saying is I want to be pleasantly surprised. I really want Nigeria to do well in the AFCON.
Let's do it this way. Since you said, okay, if they play the game right now as we speak, I want to personally surprise you as you demand for it.
Okay.
Nigeria will win.
Okay.
At worst, but they won't beat us.
Let's agree to disagree.
At worst, we'll hold down Salah.
Let's just agree to disagree on that, because that is hypothetical, all right?
Don't forget, Omero will hold down Salah.
Okay.
I love you.
I am.
Why are you laughing?
I really am. I don't, right now as it is, I do not trust the Super Eagles. I do not trust the Super Eagles right now.
I'm sure Nigeria should probe you from Egypt. So I was talking about this particular match between Nigeria and Egypt. Well, according to the interim coach of Nigerian Super Eagles, Eguavoen, that particular match will be tough. We all know this is no longer something we are not aware of. We are just hoping that the Super Eagles will not put us in another level of high blood pressure that day. Really, it's going to be a fearful one. Even me that I'm supporting Nigeria, I'm afraid. But I just believe that my team, the Super Eagles, will fly ahead of the Pharaohs of Egypt when we meet in AFCON. It's very possible. That Group D, we are topping that group, and we are going to at least do well. Let's continue to at least be optimistic that Nigerian Super Eagles will do us proud. Have they promised that they will do Nigerian proud over there in AFCON? We'll move away to another story now quickly, where we talk about another Nigerian who has been invited for the tournament, the Africa Cup of Nations that will be coming up in Cameroon. His name is Emmanuel Dennis Bonaventure. He plays for Watford, and he plays a very good football. He has been scoring goals. In fact, right now he's on fire. This young lad has been invited by the Nigerian Football Federation that he should be part of the contingent to Cameroon. Right now he says he's happy.
Yes, we are happy as Nigerians as well.
He deserves to be called.
Of course, going by his performances, I mean, like if he's putting out those numbers, he's playing those numbers of matches, he's getting those performances in, definitely he deserves to go there. And we as Nigerians are actually happy. These are the kind of things that might make us optimistic and we do something worthwhile at the AFCON, because we have players like this. Let's just hope their form carries them into the AFCON, you know, because just like we spoke about earlier, our playing style, African football is quite different. You can go to Watford and be banging in the goals, but when you come to Africa,
when it comes to this hard ground,
exactly, it's a totally different ball game. I think that's some of the problems that lots of teams actually have. We have so many foreign-based players that really don't understand African football and know how it goes. So once these tournaments are being played, especially in Africa, you find us having problems. I think that is why the North Africans actually have an edge, because most of their players are home-based and they play on the African continent. They know the terrain, you know, they are on the African continent. Most of our players play outside the continent, and when they come in here, they start complaining about things like heat. You know, the pitch is not good enough there, the weather is not bad, there's so much noise in the hotel.
The majority started from Nigeria.
But they have forgotten that. You understand?
Within 7 years, they are no longer used to
exactly.
They call it, I think we call it pakuru like that.
so that's the thing.
Oh,
when they come, they start complaining about very minor things, mosquitoes and whatnot, and that's why we have a problem.
Here.
Exactly, but he has gone abroad, spent 2
Although
3
maybe
years.
because we have more Oyinbos now in our, you know, we call them Oyibo Wall.
Yes, Oyibo Wall, Trustekong, exactly.
If not that, Kuguma and Ebrahim are not being called also.
And of course, this guy, Kali Kemi, that was our goalkeeper, exactly, you understand. So we have a lot of Oyimbos, you know, and
the mentality is now...
It's different, you know, the Oyimboish, exactly. So we have an Oyimbo-looking Nigerian national team, you understand. And so because we have so many players playing the diaspora, you understand, we have a lot of players playing for other countries now, and are very good players, exceptionally good players that do fantastic things where they are. But if they come to Africa, will they be able to give it to us?
No, you are now at least pointing that to what Dennis said, that he's happy to be invited. Can he, at least, if given the chance, do you see him as a striker that will be able to bang in those goals the way he's banging goals for Watford?
Yes. You know, a striker is only as good as the people playing behind him, because he needs to get the supply. You don't expect him to go back into his 18-yard box, carry the ball, and then dribble everybody and then go and score.
And he's no Osimhen.
Exactly, you understand. So even if he does that, how many times can he do that in a single game? Exactly, so that won't work. So he's only as good as the people that are actually behind him. Do we have the creative influence in the midfield to actually feed these balls to this guy for him to be able to do the business? That is a question that we should ask ourselves. And as a striker, your goals need to be effective. There's no point you losing 6-4 and then you getting a hat-trick as a striker. You understand? But you can win 1-0, and as a striker, your goals are effective. You understand? So that's the thing. Are we good at defense? How good is our midfield? Do we have the people to actually support this guy to do what he can do, what we know he can do? If he can get that support, fantastic. I know he's going to have an exceptional tournament. Okay,
if we look at our front, that's our attack, the Super Eagles. Even though we have that list again for the Super Eagles was invited, you just have to look at the strikers, the forwards. You look at, Ahmed Musa, Mosi Simon, Odion Igalo, Taiwo Awoniyi, Alex Iwobi, Victor Osimhen, Sadiq Umar. We know that Osimhen may not be too fit. to top our 9 there. So a lot of people are looking at, okay, Igalo, because of age, he might not be starting all the matches. So is he going to be, who do you see starting for Nigeria?
Well, apart from, there's Uncle Kelechi is there.
Why do you call him Uncle Kelechi? People are publicizing his name by calling him Kels. You are saying
Uncle Kelechi is there. He's a senior man. I believe he can actually get the job done there because he's been doing it for Leicester. You know, Emmanuel Dennis can get the job done as well. But when you look at those people, when you look at those forwards that we actually have there, how many of them can actually claim to be true number 9s? Most of these guys play on the wings. You know, the likes of the Samuel Chukwueze. Exactly. And Chukwueze also goes from the exactly. Apart from Osimhen, Igalo, maybe Umar Sadiq, you understand? Most of these guys are not typical number 9s.
Even Ahmed Musa,
they come from the wings. Yes. You know, the best you can do is play these guys as false 9s. And it depends on the formation that you're actually playing, you know, and we don't even know which formation we're playing now.
When we were talking on Monday, we look at the guest was actually analyzing that our midfielders we have it's actually short, talking about the amount. It's supposed to have at least 7. So we have only 5 midfielders. Who will supply these strikers?
That is
who will give them ball. Why don't you reduce? Take this the slot of the goalkeeper. Remove 1 goalkeeper. We have 4 goalkeepers there.
Exactly.
You understand?
We
have 6 matches to play.
Probably remove 2 defenders and 1 attacker.
Then put them. Then the attackers, you can reduce 1 or 2. Pick 1 goalkeeper. That's 3. Add it to the midfielders, so you can have at least 8 midfielders. While we have, I think we have about 10. We have 10 strikers. So even if we are leaving the defenders the way it is right now, you can look at the midfield and say, okay, the midfield is the engine room of each team. So why do we have 5?
You have 5 players there. The minimum you can play with, no matter what formation you're playing, the minimum you can play with is 2. You have 2 there, you have 3 on the bench. What happens if one gets injured, the other one gets a card? Then you have to bring in 2 more. That means you have only 1 fit midfielder on the bench. Can he be able to give you what you want? When we look at those midfielders, apart from maybe Joe Aribo, I think, how many of them can actually claim to have a creative influence?
Wakali.
You understand?
Wakali.
Well, he does the job as well. You understand? But most of these guys are actually hard men.
Yes, like Wilfred Ndidi is a defensive midfielder.
We all know that. You understand? These guys are hard men. They are hard tacklers. They do the running and whatnot. But what about that creative influence? What happens if you want to play with a number 10?
Someone that can bring the fluidity to that team.
What happens if you want to play a formation that requires you to play with a number 10? How many people do we have there that can actually do exactly? How many of them can actually do that? You understand? When you're going to a tournament and you have 5 midfielders, just 5 midfielders,
and you have 10 strikers.
10 strikers. You have 9 defenders, and you have 4 goalkeepers. What do you need 4 goalkeepers for?
So that's what should I go for midfield?
At least 1. You need a maximum of 3 goalkeepers.
It's so painful that it's late now, even though our analysis, because of the fact that no matter how Nigerians are clamoring for this, it can't be done. The list has been submitted, but it's painful that this, I see it as an error.
That is the thing, and nobody noticed that? Nobody actually looked at it? I mean, like, how many people actually looked at this list before this list was submitted? How many people vetted it before it actually went through?
I'm sure the mentality that, okay, we can convert some of them, like the midfielders, are also versatile, like Abdullah Shehu can support the midfield. That's the mentality that brought this idea of 5
but that's not something you can bank on.
At least, why don't you make use of, oh, we have enough, why don't you call them? Let them be there. We have 7. At worst, 7.
Exactly.
So that we know that in case of anything that happens, we have 3 on the ground.
You have injuries, you have suspensions, you have bad form. All this can actually happen. And you need replacements and these things, because if you don't have enough players to actually rotate and change formations as the game goes on or as the tournament wears on, then that means you're boxing yourself up, whereby you have to play with a particular formation even if it is not working.
And funny enough, you can't play all the strikers. So
you can't play all these 10 guys that you actually have there. You can't play with 10 strikers, you know? So why bring them along? Why bring me as a striker and say, okay, fine, now that we have brought you, you can't play up front, come and play as a number 10. You understand?
So you should have at least have more midfielders, at least 7 or 8.
Any serious-minded team should have more midfielders than strikers. How many strikers can you play with in a particular game? You understand? Depending on what you're playing. All right, fine. Let's say you're even going to go crazy and play 4-3-3 and play 3 number 9s up front. You know, that's the worst you can do. But can you do that for all the games?
Hopefully, this will affect us in AFCON, because our midfield needs to be fluid enough, flowing with enough ball for these guys to
games
move in
are
and
won
score
and lost in the midfield. That is what happens. If your midfield is not there, the supply line to the attack is cut off. The defense will be under pressure. That means you'll concede and you'll not be able to score.
And there's nothing we can do.
And
JJ
that is just civil football. You understand?
Nothing we can do. JJ has retired.
Exactly. JJ has retired and we can't bring him back.
We just hope the Nigerian Super Eagles to do wonderfully well in AFCON. We are trying to, at least using the story of Emmanuel Dennis, being happy for being invited to the Super Eagles as a yardstick to also look at the team's squad. The provisional list of 28 players are actually released by the Nigerian Super Eagles, NFF. Well, we hope that they will be able to play well, no injury. We pray for injury-free team tournament for Nigerian Super Eagles, so that our team players can do well there. Now let's quickly look at the games that will be coming up today in the English Premier League, as we look at some matches for today, where Crystal Palace will play against Norwich City, Southampton against Tottenham Hotspur, and you have West Ham United, the team that lost or just their game. They lost against Southampton, shockingly. They will be playing against another W team, Watford. And you have Leicester City against Liverpool. Why are they putting WWLN? Leicester versus Liverpool.
Yes. Well, that's going to be we hope it's going to be a cracker, actually, because Leicester have had, they started well. They started the season in fantastic form, but lately their form has been a bit patchy, you know, and we all know what Liverpool play. We know how Liverpool play. If they come out and play, and they play absolute blinders, and we know how they actually are. I hope, for the sake of being a football purist and of course being a neutral, I hope that Leicester will bring their A game to this match so that we can actually have a fantastic game to watch. Because on paper it's actually fantastic.
You want Liverpool to lose so that Tottenham Hotspur can move.
Well, not particularly that. Not particularly that. I just want to watch. I want to see a very good game of football. Even though, yes, I have something riding on it, having a team in the Premier League and whatnot. But still, we want to see a good match. We want to see a competitive match
between Leicester
and Liverpool. Exactly, because we want to be entertained.
And so many African brothers there. So many African, Iheanacho and Didi,
exactly.
Mane and
Salah, actually, exactly. So it's going to be like an African derby, and we really want to see that.
The Guinean man Keita,
exactly, Naby Keita is there. So we want to see these things, and I hope Leicester brings their A game so that we can have a fantastic match against Liverpool.
Still looking at the game now, let's look at Crystal Palace versus Norwich City. Norwich City, we know that totally they in fact they can say we are going home. We are going home, we know. But against this Crystal Palace match, where with Zaha and Vieira, the manager, would not want to take chances at all. They want to win this game, considering what happened in their last game.
Yeah, and I think Zaha is actually suspended because he got a red card in the last game against
at least they have other players that can do the business.
Yes, they do have other players that can do the business. And I've been impressed with Crystal Palace. I really have been impressed with them this season.
I think Vieira is really building his profile.
Exactly. I didn't give him a chance when he came. I was like, Vieira doesn't have the profile to handle a massive club, because we all think that, okay, these clubs are mid-table, they're down the league and whatnot. They have exceptional support in England. You understand? So that makes them very, very massive clubs. So Crystal Palace is that kind of club. And I was like, Vieira doesn't have what it takes to hold down this team. And he's proving me wrong, because he's doing a very good job with Crystal Palace, and I think given the time and maybe some resources, he can be able to do a very good job. Norwich, yes, Norwich, I've said it for a very long time now, Norwich are probably going down. They don't seem to have a grasp of what they're going to do to escape relegation. It's going to take a miracle for them to actually escape relegation. So I just think for now, they've already started playing for pride in the Premier League.
At St. Mary's, Southampton will be at home to play their match. Well, Tottenham Hotspur, that game. What do you think between that team? I don't want to say your team. Between Tottenham Hotspur and Southampton?
Sentiments aside, Southampton are not having a very good run right now, as it is. You understand? The Saints are not really having a very good run. And Spurs seem to be on the up, as they are.
What would you have mentioned?
They
Are they on the down?
You understand? They seem to be going on the up because of due to recent results and form, and of course Harry Kane coming back into the goals in the last game and whatnot. So for that, Tottenham have the slight edge in that game. But being the Christmas period, being Southampton playing at home, anything could actually happen.
Watford against West Ham to be another match to watch out for in all the matches that will be coming on the English Premier League for today over there in England. Now, quickly, before we go the last gap on the story that we have for you, where Callum Odoi right now is being chased by Napoli. They want to get the Chelsea man to play. He's a target for Napoli. Will it happen or not? Napoli.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult buying players from the Premier League because of, not for anything, because of their wages. You know, not every team has the financial might to actually pay those kind of wages that they pay in England. Most especially Italian teams. Italian teams are not financially strong enough, and I don't think Napoli can actually do that. Well,
that does it on 360 Sports. It's been Ibrahim Yusuf who has been doing analysis with me concerning all the story we have for this hour.
Thank you for having me, Adeni.
Good morning there. I am Adeni Ajishafe. Sport is always business and fitness. Thanks for watching 360 Sport.